This time at the Quick Speed Shop, I'm going to show you how to change spark plugs on a V8 engine, and we're using the most popular engine in the last 65 years, the Smallblock Chevrolet. I'm a professional, don't try this at home. Alright, so I've got the exhaust system off this truck. I've been working on it here, and I've got to put a new set of spark plugs in here, so I figured might as well make a video to show the basic steps, what we got to do to go through to put a brand new set of plugs in here. Now this is the very basic setup here. I've got an engine in a wide open engine bay with nothing in the way. Now obviously cars are a lot more complicated now, and there's a lot more things in the way, and plugs are in the heads, under things. A lot harder to get to, coil packs on top of them, but this is just a basic starter setup, what to look for, and the basic steps here apply to any type of engine that has a spark plug to fire off the gas fuel mixture in the cylinder. Alright, here's my basic driver's side of the engine. I've got 4 spark plugs. This is a V8 engine with 8 cylinders. So we're going to go to the first cylinder here. I'm going to remove the spark plug boot, and don't pull all the plugs off at once, the plug wires off at once, because you can get them mixed up, and then you have to trace a firing order back to put them on. If you want to take them all off at once, make sure you use like a piece of masking tape and a marker and mark which cylinder the wires go to. But we'll do this one at a time the easy way. The last time this was tuned up was 18,000 miles ago. So I've got a Champion RJ12YC standard plug in here for a Smallblock Chevrolet. I'm going to take my 13/16 socket and we'll remove it here. It should come out fairly easily. I'm going to loosen it up there and then unthread it right out of the cylinder. Now the first thing I want to do is look at the plug that comes out of the hole and see if I notice anything. And this one is pretty clean. There's not a lot of oil residue, and the plug is fairly clean for 18,000 miles, so I'd say that our tune on our carburetor is pretty good. It looks pretty clean, just a little bit of oil residue from the burning oil, but for 18,000 miles I'd say this plug looks pretty good. So now I've got the old plug out. Let's go over to the workbench and we'll get out the new plugs, and I'll show you how to gap them and what we have to do to get it ready to put back in the cylinder head. Now we're here on the bench. Let's go over the tools that we need. We're going to need some kind of wrench to take out the spark plugs, and these happen to be 13/16. Some spark plugs are 5/8, and then some can be metric sizes on new cars. But this is just an old Smallblock Chevrolet. It's 13/16. Now I'm using a standard regular 13/16 3/8 drive socket here because these are easily accessible, but they do make spark plug sockets that have a rubber boot inside them, that if you're working on a plug where it's hard to get at, the boot will hold the plug up so you can pull it up out of a head or pull it out of a tight area, and it keeps you from slipping around and damaging the porcelain. On this application I can very easily get to the spark plug, so I don't use this, and sometimes it's hard to get the spark plug in and out of it, so I don't need the spark plug socket for this application, but just be aware that there is an actual spark plug socket for removing spark plugs. So what I've done is I've ordered the correct AC Delco plugs for my Smallblock Chevrolet application. I had Champions in there before. I had a RJ12YC, which is a standard Smallblock Chevy spark plug, and I replaced it with an AC Delco R435, which is for the same application. So you can see here, these are just standard spark plugs. These are just copper electrodes. These are the $1.75-ish ones you can get for a standard application. They're the same heat range, which means that the electrode, I think, protrudes into the cylinder the same distance. You can see the body on the AC Delco is just a little bit longer than the Champion, but essentially it's the same plug, the same material, and should perform the same way. So the first thing you want to do when you pull your new plug out of the box is check the gap. And this should be, for this application, they should be gapped at 35 thousandths. So I've got a feeler gauge here, which is marked .035, which means 35 thousandths. And I just want to take it and slide it through the electrode and the strap and make sure that the plug hasn't been damaged at all and had the electrode pushed down. So right now it's a pretty tight fit, but I can slide it through there, so that's gapped correctly at 35 thousandths. So you want to take every new spark plug out of the box and check it with the feeler gauges to make sure that you had the proper 35 thousandths or 45 thousandths, whatever your vehicle calls for. You always want to check it with a set of feeler gauges to make sure you have the proper gap on the new spark plugs. Okay, we're back from the workbench. I got my brand new AC Delco plug. Now if you notice on here, there's a metallic washer, a crush washer on here. That's important. That makes the seal to the head. So I come over here. I always thread my plugs in with my fingers at first. You never want to, oops, get this out of the way here. I always thread these in by hand first. You never want to thread it in with a tool or a gun because you could cross thread your spark plug and tear the threads out of the head, and then you'd really be in a world of hurt. So I've threaded it in as far as I can go. Take my ratchet over here, get out of the spark plug, and I'm going to turn it down so I can start feeling the crush washer go here, and then I'm going to go about 3/4 of a turn to crush that washer down. Now this spark plug is crushed to the proper spec, and it's sealed in here nice. So I take my plug wire and I push it back on so I feel the click of it engaged, and it's just that easy. And go through and replace all the other plugs, and you'll have a brand new set of spark plugs in your engine. And it's just that easy. It took me less than 3 minutes to do this whole side. I got to do the other side of the engine. Then we'll go back to the bench and we'll look at all of our old spark plugs. Back on the bench, I just like to take one close look at the plugs to make sure I don't have any really obvious things wrong with the cylinders. I can tell you that the driver's side appears to be burning just a little bit cleaner than the passenger side. But this engine is very tired. It's got probably over 100,000 miles on it without any major rebuild. And it's 50-something years old. So it's looking pretty good because these are 18,000 miles on these plugs. So I got to say that the engine is running pretty good overall, and the plugs look good. All right, so that's pretty much it. Real basic spark plug maintenance on a real basic small block Chevy engine. I had the exhaust system out of the way just for the video, and I'm working on the truck. But this is standard operating procedure for replacing spark plugs in any type of internal combustion engine. It's the same principle. Take off your plug wire, make sure you keep track of it, use the proper socket to remove the spark plug, get out your new spark plug, check the gap, install your new spark plug, and then replace that plug wire. But real simple job on the most basic engine there is, but it applies to all types of engines on all types of cars. This took me less than 10 minutes to do these spark plugs. On your modern cars, it could take you up to like 3 or 4 hours depending on how deep the plugs are in the heads and coil packs and fuel rails and all that stuff that's in the way. But I want to give you the basics on a real simple video here. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I'm putting out new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Hit the bell for alerts, tell your friends, and as always, we'll see you right back here at the Quick Speed Shop for more tips, tinkering, hot rod builds, and whatever else I got going on in the shop.